Yo, checking in with you this morning. So, been thinking a lot about the smartphone and people's behaviours on it. So I'm wondering, is there an opportunity here where the smartphone can become something a little bit like, well, I think there's a lot of qualities that are similar to addictive things. For example, the things that immediately pop into my head are the classics: alcohol, cigarettes, drugs, things like that. Addictive substances, and just the feedback I've been getting over Snapchat and WhatsApp recently. I've had a number of students just reach out and just say, look, I just can't put my phone down. Every time I pick it up, I'm spending huge amounts of time on it, and you really notice it when you have an external goal impressed upon you. So, for example, revising for exams, or just having exams. Really, when you have that, you realise how detrimental your behaviour is to the achievement of external things in the real world, because you're not really tracking like what you're spending your time and attention on. It's the auto feed, it's the algorithms. You're getting served video after video. Yeah, on YouTube you might be doing a little bit of direct search and watching the videos you like the most, but you'll watch as many as you like, and the platforms have no problem in finding another video to serve you, and essentially you'll look back and your life would just be a stream of online content without actually much to look back on in the real world, which would be a bit of a shame, I think. So what I want to try and do is, I'm not going to tell you how to use a smartphone. What I'm going to do is just make some recommendations about what you could start thinking about, or some ways of perceiving content, perceiving social media, other people online, some useful ways to think about it, and then some useful physical practices. So the settings you're putting on your smartphone, the way you're touching the buttons, which screens you look to spend the most time on. So for example, I remember I made a video on Facebook quite recently actually, and it was essentially saying during exam time, try not to spend much time doing the motion of scrolling up and down. Rather, go for taps. So tap the events section and tap the notifications section. And what that will do is it gives you a more bespoke content experience, right? Because all the notifications that you get are in some way, actually this is again a stretch, because Facebook will do anything to get you on the platform again. So they will notify you about things which, in my opinion, you just don't need to be notified about, and it's just a nudge to say, hey, get back on the platform. We need you there, because that's how our revenue model works for advertising. So your eyeballs matter to us, and to me at the moment, I think the value and the quality of the content is secondary to that. So yeah, it's an issue there that I think they've got to sort out. And yeah, essentially the second point there is in the news feed. It's this autoplay feature of video, as well as an algorithm that is, I suppose, trying to connect you in a meaningful way. But in my opinion, the most meaningful connections you're going to make are in the notification section and in the events section, where you're using tech to just tee up events in the real world. Events that actually require a little bit of true social interaction rather than through a screen. Plenty of examples in my life where I've seen people online who, and I really try and cut this behaviour down now, and I think I'll make another podcast on this, but looking at other people's Facebook profiles or just any kind of profile actually, just don't do it anymore, because the main reason is it's just inaccurate. Like, you can't in my opinion, there's things at play in human behaviour and psychology that you cannot pick up on the true vibe of a person just looking at their social profiles. There is so much communication that goes on beyond below the surface of just looking at an image or watching a video that you get when you're face to face in real life. Maybe VR will change this, I don't know. I would actually bet that it probably does, and you can pick up on all the human sub-communication with a VR headset. But essentially there's too much context lost, and therefore I just don't think it's worth any time looking at people's profiles in order to figure out what they might be as a person. Yeah, you can figure out their interests and things, but it's a subtle difference that a person's interests is not necessarily an indicator of actually whether you will get on with them, so to speak, and have rapport and enjoy some sort of relationship, friendship kind of thing with them. So think about that. Think about how you're using the platforms, which screens you're on, which buttons you're pressing on. Most importantly, how you're perceiving the content that's coming down your smartphone, and try and create your own way of going about it, because it's a real interesting subject at the moment. There's so many studies on mental health and smartphones and happiness among teenagers and students and things like that. And I remember Facebook, I remember in 2000, so it was founded in 2004, but I got it in 2006. So it was the first proper big, large at scale social media platform. Before I had Bebo for 2-3 years. I think that was about, and there was obviously MSN Messenger and things like that. There was about 10 million people I think went on Bebo in the end. I don't know the exact figure, but substantial amount. But I think now I'm 25, I'm looking at it. What's that? About 15 years or so of this real souped up version of the internet where the communication is non-stop. It's 15 years, absolutely nothing in the expanse of human time. And if you look at it, there's got to be some kind of best practices or common learnings about the best way to do things, or the most beneficial way in relation to what you want to try and achieve. Now, if you just want to digest content through your smartphone the whole time and live through that, and maybe sacrifice real life experience, be my guest. Who am I to tell you what to do? But at the same time, if you want to do stuff and actually smash it, have a good time in real life, not care too much about how you are perceived in an environment that I think lacks a lot of context and reality, then switch it up. And you'll find that actually all that really matters is your own opinion of how your stuff's going. And if you've got a high opinion of where you're going, how you're behaving, it doesn't really matter what anybody else thinks. Most important opinion in the world, really, of yourself is you, because that's all you've got to answer to, really. At the end of when everything goes back in the box, return for when you pop your clogs and you're 6 feet under, that's all that really matters, is your opinion of yourself. Because if you're okay with that, then cool. And I'll tell you what, the likelihood that if you were okay with it, and you're being a kind human being, trying to do the best thing, trying to look out for everybody, and having a good moral compass. Obviously, you can't just be okay with being just not a nice person. But if you're of a good kind of intention in nature, and then you're okay with your behaviour on a day-to-day basis, you're going to be in a cracking spot. because you're going to be happy. And the likelihood is that most of the people who spend time with you are really going to enjoy it, because I don't know, you've got good intentions. So have a cracking day, and I've actually got to give a talk today at Vayner, so I'm going to do that and then get stuck in. Adios.